Fantasy Football Almost Daily is brought to you by Fanball, and the Week 3 Fanball winners contests are available now on the Fanball mobile app. If you look right now on my screen, I'm holding up my Fanball winners app, and it shows Tua Tagovailoa versus Josh Allen. Which quarterback will score more fantasy points today? How about Devon Achane versus James Cook? Which one of those guys is going to get more fantasy points? For Dolphins receivers, it's Tyreek Hill, Jalen Waddle, or Nick Westbrook-Akine. For Buffalo receivers, it's Khalil Shakir, Keon Coleman, or Dalton Kincaid. If you pick the winner of each of those four categories, you get to split the pot with anybody else who picks the winners. And frankly, not everybody picks the winners. You get one wrong, you don't get it. But if you can go 4 for 4, you get to scoop up the cash in Fanball winners. It's only $1 to play. Download the Fanball mobile app to get started right now. $1 and $5 contests available for week 3. Use the promo code ALMOST for a $20 deposit match for first-time depositors. We're also brought to you by Game Blazers, where DFS, gaming, and collecting come together for a whole new way to play fantasy football. You can win your share of $750,000 in guaranteed prizes this season in free-to-play contests. And if you haven't started yet, you've only missed 2 weeks. There's 16 more weeks to go. Yeah, I'll do the math. 16 more weeks to go. If you use the promo code FFAD when you make your first deposit on Game Blazers, we'll match it up to $100. So build your ultimate fantasy team at Game Blazers today and play those free-to-play contests on Game Blazers with a chance to win up to $35,000, $40,000 in any given week. Wow, that's a lot of money that they're giving away in free-to-play contests. Tonight, we're going to preview, I guess it's today. Today, we're going to preview the Dolphins versus the Bills in Buffalo for Thursday Night Football. But first, we're going to get some Less Than Jake in the house.
From the Sports Hub Games Network, this is Fantasy Football Almost Daily with your host, Matt Harrison.
Hey, this is Matt Harrison here at Explosive Output on Twitter and Blue Sky. Thank you for joining me today on this episode of Fantasy Football Almost Daily. We're going to talk the Thursday night matchup, Fantasy Football Weekly style. I'm not on that show this week, but I called on last week's Thursday show that Tucker Kraft was going to have a big day. That came to fruition. And I had a pretty good day on Fantasy Football Weekly last week, calling out Mac Jones and his 3 touchdowns as my take a chance on me quarterback. Nick Chubb was my take a chance on me running back, and he had a great day. And Wan'Dale Robinson, I had the Wan'Dale vision. Over 130 yards and a score in his game. He was my take a chance on me wide receiver. So maybe I know what I'm talking about. Maybe I'm just talking out of my butt, but here we go. We're going to talk about the Buffalo Bills and the Miami Dolphins. This one's in Buffalo. The Bills, 11.5-point favorites and an over-under of 49.5 in this one. And it's pretty clear to see on the Bills side, Josh Allen is an easy A grade, and so is James Cook. Cook is averaging 88 yards on the ground per game, a touchdown and a half on the ground per game, and 30 yards of receiving. The Dolphins, they're just bad against running backs. They've given up the second most combo yards per game to opposing runners at 174.5. So James Cook might be in an absolute smash spot again this week. He might be looking at like 30 points in this one. I like James Cook a lot, and it's pretty easy to see that 174 yards to go around with most of it going to James Cook. Yeah, I like that quite a bit. Dalton Kincaid's a guy you can start at the tight end position. The Dolphins have given up the 6th most receiving yards so far to the tight end position on this young season, and it hasn't really been a who's who of tight ends. I mean, Brock Bowers is pretty good, but the New England tight ends, okay, sure. Kincaid averaging 5 targets, 4 receptions, 42 yards per game. That's good enough to keep him involved. I'll give him a C grade in this one, maybe a C plus, because Charch can't stop me from giving plus and minus grades in this one. Can you, Charch? That's right. The wide receivers, Keon Coleman, he'll get a B grade, maybe a B minus in this one. And I'll give Khalil Shakir a C grade. Both viable in this game. The problem I think Buffalo might get out to a huge lead again, and the game script might just get all wonky here. Coleman averaging 7 targets per game, 5.5 receptions, 69 yards per game right now. Shakir averaging quite a bit less at only 38 yards per game, but he's still getting targeted 5.5 times per game. I mean, that's enough, but it's not the alpha receiver that we thought he was going to be. The Dolphins have actually been pretty good against wide receivers, the 5th fewest receptions and the 3rd fewest receiving yards. And that's because it's been so easy to move the ball against them in other ways. So I'm a little apprehensive about Coleman and Shakir. I'm not going as far as Joshua Palmer or Elijah Moore, but I think they're startable, but just kind of barely. On the Dolphins side, I struggled with Tua here. He probably should be on the bench in this one, as the Bills have given up the fewest passing completions on the fewest passing attempts and the fewest passing yards so far this year. Now, granted, they played 2 running quarterbacks in Lamar Jackson and Justin Fields, but nobody's really passing against them, only to the tune of 146 yards per game right now. That's just not enough. And where the Bills have been dinged by quarterbacks, it's been on the ground. And Tua's not running. He's not running anymore. He's averaging half an attempt. He's ran the ball once for 7 yards so far this year. I don't think I can do it. I don't think I can go there. And I really don't think I would want to start Tyreek Hill or Jalen Waddle in this one. Both averaging about 6 targets per game, both catching about 5 receptions per game. Tyreek Hill's got more on the yardage side. He's averaging 75 yards per game, where Waddle's in about the 50 range, but Waddle's got the only touchdown amongst the wide receivers. I just think it's too tough. The Bills have only allowed 16 total receptions to opposing wide receivers so far through 2 games. That's just not enough. That's not enough. That's the 3rd fewest in the league. They've allowed the 8th fewest receiving yards. They did allow a couple of touchdowns in the opener against Baltimore, but I just don't see it. I think I'd rather keep both of them on the bench. If I have to start one, it's Tyreek Hill with a C-ish grade in this one. The only start on the Dolphins side is Devon Achane, who really hasn't been seeing enough carries in the game so far. He's only averaging 9 rushing attempts per game, but he's averaging 16 total opportunities. He's averaging 7 targets per game. So that's kind of making up for it. His receiving yards per game is higher than his rushing yards per game. And he's also scored a receiving touchdown, but hasn't got one on the ground yet. So I like Achane in this one just because I think there's some opportunity here. Buffalo gashed a little bit on the ground so far this year, allowing 6.06 yards per carry, which is the worst in the NFL. Now, granted, a lot of that's Derrick Henry, but that was the worst in the NFL. But they are allowing, on average, 115 running back combo yards per game. That falls right in the middle. But I think almost all of that 115 yards is going to Achane in this one, and that's pretty close to what he averages in a game. So I think you can start him with a pretty solid B+ in this one. You don't need to feel apprehensive about putting Achane in your lineups, because I just think that even if the Dolphins fall way behind in this one, they're still going to do dump off passes to Achane, because Tua's got to get the ball out of his hands as fast as he can. I think Achane's still alive, and let's go with it against Buffalo. He's the only Dolphins starter I would roll with tonight. But if I'm looking at those Fanball winners contests, I got James Cook way above Achane in this one. So I think I'd go Josh Allen for sure. I think I'd go James Cook for sure. And I don't know where I'm going on the Dolphins receivers and the Bills receivers, but it's probably Tyreek Hill, and it's probably Dalton Kincaid in the upset. That way I can scoop all the chips if I were to get 4 for 4 on Fanball winners tonight. If you want to try something new and different, I'll just remind you a little bit about Game Blazers. The primetime packs are now on sale for the primetime Pyro contest, and franchise packs are available for a very limited time over at Game Blazers. Don't forget to use that promo code FFAD for up to a $100 deposit match only at Game Blazers. We'll be back tomorrow for another show with Trevor Jones as Trevor and I preview this week's favorite DFS plays. We nailed a couple of last week. We hope to have your eyeballs and ear holes tuning into us tomorrow for another Fantasy Football Almost Daily. Maybe